For day 21 of the ramen review, we have this one. This is called Yard Ramyeon, which translates into heat ramyeon. I had this before, it's not my favorite, but I'm willing to try this one out again, so let's get cooking. Even though I put a lot of water, I can smell the heat. Woof. As I remembered, this ramen is just spicy. Like, you can smell the heat coming from it. I would say it's like a dry heat sensation. However, flavor-wise, it's just alright. Although, the noodles were nice and thick, so I can't really complain about it. Anyways, if I were to rank this ramen on a list of European countries, if Germany is great and France is not so good, this ranks as Italy. For day 22 of the ramen review, I'm going to make a ramen dish that was somewhat popular in Korea. Basically, you're combining Timsa ramyeon and Yard ramyeon together. Both ramen dishes are spicy, so I'm just imagining this will just make the whole dish even spicier. I was a bit excited about the broth, and after tasting it, it wasn't bad at all. I think I may have put too much water, but in essence the broth tasted like a more scented version of the original Timsa ramen. In terms of the noodles, I was a bit worried because sometimes with mixing two different ramens, one of the ramens would be way thicker than the other, and that texture difference just throws me off. Fortunately for this mixture, I couldn't really tell the difference. In the end, would I ever cook this again? Probably not. I think the original Timsa ramen is way better. Anyways, if I were to rank this ramen on a scale of basketball players, if LeBron is great and MJ is alright, this ranks as Shaq. For day 23 of the ramen review, we have this Japanese ramen. My cousin recently went to Japan and brought this home as a gift, so I'm pretty excited to try this out. Okay, smells very shrimpy. I'm not sure how I feel about this. In terms of the broth, it wasn't as fishy as it smelled. I guess it tastes like an anchovy stock slash dashi, just light and somewhat fishy, but nothing really horrible. I did try the shrimp, which were very big when they're dehydrated. Now they're just all shriveled up. However, putting aside the appearance, the shrimp tasted somewhat like shrimp. Hard to tell since there was so little shrimp in the fried batter. In terms of the noodles, they were alright. Pretty thin, but at least there was a lot of it. Overall, if I were to rank this dish on a scale of movies, if Barbie is great and Oppenheimer was not so good, this ranks as Meg 2. For day 24 of the ramen review, we have this one. It's another Korean instant ramen that I don't think they sell in the US. The main catch of this one is that it's very low in calories. As you can see here, this is why it's low in calorie. They substituted the noodles with some thin glass noodles. You know, I really didn't want to eat this, but just for the YouTube, I am. Smelling the broth, it smelled like a scented noodle dish. I guess the most similar thing is pho. In terms of the noodles, they were alright, nothing special, just your regular glass noodles. I guess there's a reason why the package doesn't say it's a ramen and instead it just says cup noodle, spicy flavor. Anyways, I'm gonna skip my usual judging and say this. Do not buy this, just don't eat if you're on a diet. For day 25 of the ramen review, we have this jjormyeon. Jjormyeon is one of my favorite instant ramen dishes. It comes with a sweet and spicy mixing sauce and a gelatinous noodle base. All of this is served cold, which is perfect for a hot summer day. But since it's served cold, make sure you cook the noodles all the way and rinse the cold water so you get perfectly chilled noodles. In terms of taste, it is pretty good. The noodles were nice and chewy and were decently thick. The sauce was spicy, but not so spicy that it just blows your head off. There is a hint of sweetness and dare I say notes of ketchup, but overall I really do enjoy this particular jjormyeon. Anyways, if I were to rank this ramen on a scale of movie directors, if Michael Bay is great and Quentin Tarantino is alright, this ranks as Christopher Nolan. For day 26 of the ramen review, I have a ramen kit from Costco. I've seen these around and have heard mixed reviews about them, so I waited until they were on sale. Pour broth, add ramen, chashu, 1 minute, add vegetable, and done. Whoa. In terms of the broth, it was very garlicky. I know this manufacturer is a Korean company and Korean people like garlic, but my god, was this a lot of garlic. It tasted like a garlic soup. In terms of the chashu, it was alright. It was pretty soft and mushy like an overcooked barbecue, but it did have flavor. The noodles weren't bad as well. There could have been more because I think I was able to finish this in like 5 bites. Overall, if I were to rank this ramen on a scale of pastries, if croissants are great and danishes are alright, this ranks as a scone. For day 26 of the ramen challenge, we have this one. This is not a ramen, but it is a rice bowl with toppings. It is a bit suspicious. It says pork only 8.9%, so I guess it's mostly sauce. But yeah, let's see how good this is. Oh, here's the rice. Looks like you only open up to this line. Here's your spoon, which is interesting. Here is the sauce. The sauce here. And the rice will go here. It's pretty good. Nice and spicy. Well, not that spicy, but kind of sweet too. There is some meat in here, so yeah, let's see if it's good. Doesn't really have any texture to it. Kind of mushy, which I'm assuming is because it's been in that marinade for like who knows how long. It's whatever. I wouldn't buy it again, but at the same time, if you don't have a Korean spot near your place, this is the next best thing. For day 28 of the ramen review, we are reviewing a third jjampong ramen. Didn't know there were so many of these ramens, but this is the third one. Kind of excited because I honestly had this before a while back, but haven't since then. I remember I really liked it, so let's get into it. Smells pretty smoky. Oof. It's pretty good. So this oil package brings this ramen to a whole different level. I'm pretty sure this is where that smokiness from the broth comes from. In terms of the noodles were pretty good, nice and thick and delicious. However, I would recommend this dish solely based on the broth. That's how good the broth is. Anyways, if I were to rank this ramen on a scale of tech CEOs, if Mark Zuckerberg is great and Elon Musk is alright, this ranks as Jack Dorsey. For day 29 of the ramen review, I have the OG mixed ramen with generic red sauce, bibimbap. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of this, but it was on sale, and on top of that, I didn't know they also gave you the option to eat this warm, which is very interesting. So let's cook this dish up and see if the warm version is better than the cold version. After getting the dish assembled, it is very interesting at the very least. The dish overall became somewhat dry, like I think the heat evaporated the water from the noodles. I also tried eating it with an egg and the egg could not save it. In terms of the taste, it tasted like the original cold noodles where it was a ketchupy sweet coated noodle sauce that was barely spicy, and that's why I'm not the biggest fan of this ramen because it's just sweet, too sweet for my taste. Anyways, if I were to rank this on a scale of soccer players, if Messi is great and Ronaldo is alright, this ranks as Pele. For day 30 of the ramen review, we'll have the last ramen of this series. This ramen is called Ramen and it is made by this celebrity chef. Will this be another ramen endorsed by a celebrity, or will it be actually a thoughtful collaboration? Let's find out. Overall, the ramen does smell a bit more spicy. Tasting the broth, it has that spicy raw pepper taste, like spicy Chinese food, although I wouldn't say that it is that spicy. Other than that, it's pretty alright. It does have an interesting dehydrated egg topping, which is pretty rare. In terms of the noodles, they are of ordinary thickness, but if you like that raw pepper broth taste, then this ramen is for you. Anyways, I think I'm done with this series for now. These are pretty exhausting and boring for me to edit because they're kind of repetitive, so back to the drawing board.